Hello, I'm Derek Terry, host of I'm Not Complaining, I'm Just Saying. Here at one of my favorite spots, the barbershop, where we know if you're gonna complain here, then you better provide solutions.
Good.
It's good. I firmly believe when we make other people's problems part of our conversations without providing solutions or prayer, then we become part of the problem. I want to be able to provide people with a platform where they can freely express their views on such topics as education, social issues, health and fitness. Now that's good. Or sports. So please join me so we can complain and provide solutions together.
Hey, what's going on, people? This is your man, Derek Terry, host of I'm Not Complaining, I'm Just Saying, where you're going to complain, bring some solutions to the table. Welcome to another episode, Season 7. I believe this is Episode 8. And my special guest, and I want to make sure that I get his last name right, is Emmanuel, aka Manny Ogungbesan. And he is running for Charles County Commissioner, District 2. And before he comes on, I just want to pretty much go through what I always go through is that this show, this is part of my voter education series, is given not only Charles County voters, but hopefully it will reach out to all people who are voting, although everyone should be voting that's eligible to vote, to do your homework, to look at the platforms and to educate yourself on candidates. This show is absolutely free. I don't get paid for this. This is my way of giving back. I've reached out to every registered commissioner as well as Board of Education candidate, regardless of party affiliation, to be on the show. And Manny is taking advantage of it. Some people don't, for whatever reason. Not gonna get into it, but it is what it is. And this is another way to give people an opportunity to not only talk about their platform, but they'll also find out a little bit about the person. So with that, we're going to bring in, and also he's having technical difficulties. So you may not see his face. It's not because he don't want to show it. He'll probably talk about some of the broadband issues that are going on. But I definitely want to welcome now Emmanuel, aka Manny Ogungbesan. Did I say it right?
Yeah, you tried. You know, I have to give it to you because you did better than a lot of my comrades in the military. They just straight call me OG, like, yo, we ain't even go try.
I know how that is. I know you prior Navy.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm retired Air Force /
right, yeah, it makes it easier, you know.
Yeah, make up nicknames for you.
I know, right? Real quick. Thank you so much for having me, Terry.
Yeah, no problem. And once again, we apologize. There's I'm sure he'll touch a little bit on it, but we have these technical difficulties when it comes to your carrier, and you know, we probably will do another interviews maybe in the next couple of weeks, but we more or less wanted to talk about your platform, give people an opportunity not only to see what you want to focus on, but to know about you, the person. So, and I just want to bring this up real quick for those that are like wondering, okay, I don't know who he is, what he looks like. So this is Manny. And let me just move this. Some reason this, I'll move it right here. So, so before we get started, you know, how you doing, man? How's the family?
Yeah, we thank God. My family is doing good. The family is doing well. What about yours? How is your family doing?
Oh man, I got one daughter in the working field, got her own spot. My
Mm.
son, freshman, about to get through this year and check off the box. But
Okay, you almost after you halfway there, man. Me, I feel like I'm just getting started. You know,
yeah,
I have a 13-year-old and 18-year-old, 8-year-old, and a 4-year-old. So I'm just getting started. You almost there. You almost done.
yeah, but I ain't there yet. But what some people may not know is me and Manny met. I want to say it was like 2013 or 14,
Hmm.
and at the time I was running for not running. I was running for board of
Board of
education.
elections,
Board
board
of
of education,
education.
board of education. Yeah.
Yeah, and I believe Manny was running. Yeah, I think he was running for commissioner.
Yeah.
Yeah, and we met there, and ever since then, we had a friendship. It's difficult sometimes to see one another, but the beauty of social media is that you stay in contact. You definitely have differences, but you also definitely have some similarities. So
Yes, sir.
um, appreciate the almost 10-year friendship, which will be next year.
Yeah. Yeah. It's been a
But
while.
yeah, but like any friendship, you're not always going to agree. And before we get into your platform and all the other stuff, tell us about Manny the person, not the candidate, but Manny the person.
Mm. Well, and my name is Emmanuel Ogungbesan. Thank you so much, Terry, for having me. I really do appreciate the platform and the opportunity you are giving not only to our to the candidates that are running, but also to our people and our residents to actually be able to hear from those who they'll be electing. You know, I really do appreciate your work, and I've been, me, I've been
Yeah.
following you for the longest, and you know, and the one thing I do love about you, and I appreciate about you, the work you do is you put it forward. You whatever it is, what your opinion is, you put it forward. You're not shy to share your opinion, and you know the same here with me.
Yeah, man, I know. 'Cause I believe me, I know. But I look at it like basketball. We can sit there and talk junk or whatever, but at the end of the game, we shaking hands and we
Yep,
going to break bread. That's the way I always look at it. I
yep,
take it personal.
that's exactly how it should be because
Yeah.
our politics do need some level of maturity, which I think some people do lack. But you are not one of those people, I have to say. Yeah, well, when talking about me, I was born in Nigeria. I was born in Lagos, Nigeria. Grew up in Lagos, Nigeria. Went to boarding school when I was 5 years old. Um, I did my primary school, my secondary school, mainly boarding schools. Uh, my my father, my father was my role model. You know, it was the gift of God to me and my mother as well. Yeah, my parents are middle class family. They're not rich, but they understand the importance of education. That was why they sent me, myself, and my brothers and my siblings to boarding school growing up. Because when I was growing up in Nigeria, boarding schools were the best schools that you can find out there. There are great primary schools and public schools as well, but most of the best schools that provide the best quality education usually back then were in boarding schools. So that was why my dad did that. Uh, and I think what he did that because he understands the value of education, like I said. So after graduating high school, I went to college. I did associate in business administration. I did associate in journalism. I worked for Voice of Nigeria in Lagos, Ikoyi for a while. Then I went to college. I went back to college. I was in law school in Nigeria actually. Yeah. When I left 20 years ago. When I left Nigeria 20 years ago, I was in law school. I was in 200 level. Then I left, transferred to uh, Methodist University in North Carolina. Then afterwards, I joined the military. I joined the Navy. I served. I served everywhere. I served in Chicago, Pensacola, Florida. I served on Iraq, Kuwait, Afghanistan, and I also served on USS Carl Vinson, the ship that buried Osama bin Laden. Uh, After when I left the Navy, I worked for Vivint solo for a little while. Then I transferred and I worked for what do you call it? Solar City and Tesla
Okay.
Energy for a little while before I decided to start my own corporation. I run a solar home improvement corporation. Uh, it's called Solar Checks Home Improvement. Is is here in Charles County. Is here in White Plains. So that is all. That is all about me. I'm married. I'm married to my lovely wife, my college sweetheart. We met in college here when I got to the country 20 years ago. But we've been married now for a while, at least going on
Well, yeah, you better make sure you
going
know
on
the years
14
when she asks you.
going on 14 years. So yeah. So that's it about me. I have three kids: a 13-year-old, 8-year-old, and a 4-year-old. There's nothing too special about me. There is nothing special about me. It's only by the grace of God that I'm here, and I'm thankful for His grace all over us, especially considering what we've been through in the last 2 years with the corona. I have to be very, very thankful for many of us and a lot of us and all of us that are still here.
I will definitely appreciate the the brief bio on you and what you're about. And although you say nothing special about you, it's always special when someone serves. So I appreciate your service, but it's also special when somebody runs for office because it's still doing a public service. And you and I know that there's a lot of pros and cons to running for office. So we want to, kind of get into it. So for those who don't know, there we go. Manny is running District 2. So District 2 is this area right. Oops, sorry. Hold on. When you're dealing with technical difficulties.
I know, right?
Let's do it this way. Okay, so running District 2, which is this area right here that goes all the way from Benedict. Then you have Welcome, and of course, he's somewhere, I guess you reside somewhere in this area right here.
Mhm.
So before we get started, your your slogan was interesting because I actually had a discussion with someone about your slogan, and and I'm just curious, what is, I think I know what it means, but when I broke it down to this person, he was like, oh, I didn't even think of it like that. So unbarred and unbiased, what does that mean to you?
Yeah, well, what I mean by unboard and unbiased is basically it simply means on board by special interest, unbiased by differences. Meaning, what they say, there's an African language, African proverb that says, he who pays the piper dictates the tune. Meaning, if you're paying somebody to play you a flute, you will dictate the tune you want to hear. If you hire a DJ to your party and you say, oh, come on, DJ for me. But guess what? All I want you to play today is Bob Marley. He owes you the duty to play that Bob Marley. Isn't that right?
Yeah and no.
Well, if you tell if you pay,
yeah, if you pay,
if you
yes.
paying him,
If
you're paying
if
him,
you're paying and you're telling them to do that. Now,
yeah, exactly. If you're
but see,
paying him,
look, but
if
here,
I
right,
if I pay somebody,
look, but here's where I disagree with this person. I said, okay, so let's say, for instance, I like jazz.
Mhm.
Well, let's put it like this: you don't even know, and the person said, "Hey, what type of music do you like?" I like jazz, rock and roll, whatever. So the person said, "You know what? The fact that he likes jazz, I'm going to hire him as a DJ. He may not, he's probably gonna play that other stuff, but the fact that he likes jazz, I'm gonna go ahead and pay him. Now, is there anything wrong with that?
No, there's nothing wrong with that. But you see, it's still going to be playing the tune you want, though. It can be playing jazz and other stuff. But
Yeah,
guess
because
what?
that means,
Everything is going to be playing.
yeah, but
It's
I
still
didn't
going to be
promise. The
something
thing
that you
about
want.
it, as a DJ, I didn't promise him I was gonna play jazz. I just said, look, I love jazz. I'm gonna play some jazz. And if you want to pay to come into the club to listen to some jazz, thank you. So when I look at, like, say, campaigning, if you know, when I ran for commissioner, I was told, quote unquote, the developers bought me. What little did people know was that my HOA was fighting the developer for things that they did not do. But I'm also somebody who likes smart growth, because as of right now, there is, and we're kind of almost going to jump into your platform. There was no other streams of revenue to come in. So, like, I transition to that. So when we look at, I hate technology sometimes. So when we look at your platform, progressive policies, your first thing is to expand our revenue base, which in my rationale is the reason why we got to build the homes, because we had nothing else coming in. So what do you mean? Like, if you were elected, how would you implement or try to expand our revenue base?
Okay. Thank you so much for that question. I will definitely come to address that question, but I want to quickly clarify the on board and unbiased on my platform. You see, what I mean by that is, I'm the kind of person, when I said on board by special interest, unbiased by differences, meaning I do not accept special interest funds. If I am lucky to get endorsed by EACC today, that money they give to support the campaign, I'm going to tell them I will donate that cash to somebody else, give that cash to another organization that needs it. I welcome their endorsement. I welcome their support. However, I do not want a financial tie that will be the reason why people might insinuate I'm being influenced by one decision I'm making or the other. Because I believe one thing, they can encourage their supporters or their members to vote for me. That is all I need. The currency that they're going to give me, the money they're going to get, they can encourage their association members to donate individually to me. I will take that, but I do not want to accept any donation from special interest. That is number one. What I mean by unbiased by differences is, for me, I grew up in a place where all my mother's side, except for maybe my aunt and maybe a couple of my other cousins, all of them are Muslims. Then my mom is a Christian as well. The rest are all Muslims. And on my father's side are all Christians. And we grew up happy together. I grew up with my cousin on both sides. Never do we ever know each other because differences or any kind of differences because of religion, So differences should not be, our diversity should be our strength. It shouldn't be our weakness, basically. So for me, I believe being biased because of where I'm from or how somebody look, or how they talk, or the color of their skin, or their education level, for me, I think it is all prejudicial. And that is one thing I vow to myself not to do. I do not see color. I do not see religion. I see humanity, and I fight for humanity. That is all I am here to do. Now,
and I can agree to disagree, because regardless, I still see color. Doesn't mean because I see color, I think differently, but I see color. So
when I mean, you see, when I
So-
mean the word see color, I don't want you to take me literally. What I mean by that is, I do not, in my dealings with you, in my interactions with you, in my engagement with you, I do not engage you based on what you look like or what your color looks like. That is what I mean by I do not see color.
All right, so I can say, so we got a lot to tackle. So I want to briefly, go through really all your points. So, and I'm not trying to rush anything like that, but what I want to do, expand our revenue base. How are we going to expand that, or what is your plan to expand that?
Yeah, well, it's important to expand our revenue base because the module of our taxation right now is unsustainable. It's unsustainable because when I explain to people the economy itself, a societal economy, is no different from an individual economy. An individual, just like you, Terry, as the head of your household, your household economy is a microcosm of the economy of a society. You understand what I'm saying?
Yeah,
So
I
now,
understand it, but I guess what I'm trying to get at is,
that's why I'm
but
going there.
physically, how are we going to expand? Like, I know we
I'm
need to
going there,
expand.
but we are going there. But sometimes, when you are discussing the issue bordering on economy, you have to give some economic background.
Well,
So what I'm trying to do,
and the reason, because the reason I say that is, a voter had limited time. Like, we could spend, hours talking about it, but if I'm a voter, I'm like, look, all I want to know is how we going to expand it, and where's money coming from?
exactly, and that is exactly why this platform is necessary. A platform such as this is where a candidate can actually come to explain it to that kind of voter. You understand my point? If we are on a debate platform, it's different. Then I'll be saying, okay.
Well, that's what I tried, and and not disagreeing with you, but that's kind of like what I would look for, but you typically have 2 minutes, whatever it may be, but it's sort of like, I need to know, okay, how are we going to expand our revenue base? So what method, what tangible things, how are we going to do it?
Yeah, I'm going to explain it to you. That is what I'm trying to explain. You see, when a person have the main source of income for a head of household is mainly employment or business, whatever they do. That is their main source of income. Now, for instance, for somebody who has an employment of 5 to 9, well, 9 to 5, whose source of income is mainly that employment income that he makes. If every time his income, his expenses go up in his household, he either get a job or do something else in order to be able to cope with his expenses. So if he keeps getting a job every time his expenses go up in his household, you realize that he will keep getting a job every time, and that is not sustainable. Because you cannot say you work in your years, 40 years of your life, and every time your expenses go up, you get a job. You're going to have like 50 jobs at one time. It's not sustainable. The same goes for a government. If a government, the primary source of government revenue is taxes, right? Just like an individual, which is income. Primary source of government revenue is taxes. Now, if government does not start thinking, if you do not start thinking of, okay, how can I generate revenue beyond going back to my residents or my citizens to raise taxes? How am I going to be able to generate? If I can't generate that revenue, that means this is not sustainable, because I'll keep coming back every year to add more taxes in order to be able to cope with our growing expenses in the society. Now, that is where I'm going. That is why I said I'll give the background first. Then
now just keep in mind, I don't want to go through the background of each thing.
You don't have to. Yeah. You don't have to, but I'm talking to Charles County residents. They have to understand why I'm trying to do it.
No, that I understand, but I would say, within a 50-minute show, there's no way that you can go into the background. There's just no way.
50 minutes.
Because you have a lot of points. So it's like, like, for instance, I'll give you an example. You say, how are you going to expand the revenue base? We need to bring in livable wage jobs. We need to bring in big business. I just want to know how.
I am going there.
Yeah.
I'm going there. Yeah. I'm going there. You see, when it comes to expanding revenue, understanding that you can't keep taxing your people, what you have to do is you have to invest. You have to invest. What I mean by invest is you have to prioritize how you grow. You have to prioritize your investments. Commercial, for me as a candidate, if I am lucky to get elected, my primary, when it comes to development, when it comes to growth, I will give emphasis to commercial based property. When I mean commercial, I'm not talking about residential properties, commercial based and industrial based property that can generate income, that can bring revenue. Not
Okay.
only that, if
All
you
right,
look
now
on
we
my
getting
bullet,
there. Okay.
yeah,
Okay.
if you look on my bullet, if you look on my bulletproof or my bulletin points where I sound out progressive policies, the number 3 in there was build infrastructures, and number 4 in there was build what they call renewable energy for revenue generation. I'm a solar guy. I was a
Okay.
field energy consultant for Solar City. I was a field energy consultant for Tesla before I started mine. And I'm telling you, we can literally build renewable energy in this county that can generate us revenue. You know
Okay.
how?
Good. Yeah.
Right now, I'm
Yeah,
listening.
and this is why I agree with you, because I've seen it not only in military bases, but I've seen it in other counties where they're doing that. Of course, you may have to deal with the SMECOs of the world, but at the end of the day, it's about the taxpayer paying less and the businesses coming up with innovative ways. Now, freeze our county taxes. Which particular tax are you talking about? Property tax,
Property
income
taxes.
tax?
Property taxes.
So if you do know that a vast portion of our tax dollars comes from property tax.
I
So
know that.
when you mean freeze it, do you mean we don't pay it or we keep it at a rate? Because I ain't mad at you if you want to freeze it.
Yeah, freeze our property taxes means our real property tax rate will not go up. What I
For
mean by real property tax rate means we're not talking about the normal tax rate that the like the commissioner tried to do now again, trying to put the taxes on our people. We are still inside a pandemic the recession. Interest rate is still going up. Food prices is still going up. Gas prices still going up. Rent still going up. Our housing affordability still getting worse. Our homeless problem still getting worse. Our infrastructural decay still getting worse. And the first thing our Charles County commissioners want to think about is raising taxes. They will tell you, oh, we're not raising the interest, or we're not raising the rate. We're not raising the rate. But guess what? The rate might not go up, but if you pay $3,000 last year on your taxes, but this year you have to pay $3,200, your taxes has gone up. Period.
well, yeah, but
Exactly.
some of
So
that has to do.
let us cut the chase. Let us stop treating our people as if they are stupid.
Yeah,
We are not
but
stupid.
but
Our
man,
people are not stupid.
some of
Our
that has
estimates
to
are not.
deal with the value of your home. If the value, if the
Yeah,
Maryland comes in and does the tax on your home and the value
yeah,
of your
but
home goes
but
up.
guess what? But if you maintain the constant yield tax, if you go with the constant yield tax, that is, you won't have to consider the value of your home. You know why? Because you tax us the same rate, you tax us the same amount we paid last year is the same amount we pay this year. And the reason why that is even much more important to do this year is because we are going through economic recession. The Dow is tumbling like it's nobody's business. Look, you can look at the global market is in disarray. And the first thing we are thinking about, you know what they normally do when you have economic downturn like this? They do what they call stimulus, right? Stimulus package to boost the economy. But because the economy is already oversaturated through inflation because there's too much money in circulation. That is why now it doesn't even make no more sense to try and even do a stimulus package, because it's only going to oversaturate the economy even further, which is going to worsen the inflation problem. So, however, what you don't do is increase taxes at any level, because that little $200 they're going to pay more than last year, that is $200 they can use to pay for their prescription drugs and all that stuff.
Now, I agree with you, but here I'm playing devil's advocate. We know that education, sheriff's department, attorney, can't get the name right, the attorney's office, any other government agency is always ask for increase. I don't know of one agency that's asked for a decrease the year. So when they ask for an increase, that money has to come from somewhere. And I don't think that education should get all that money. That's just me. But you also got the Maryland Blueprint that supposedly will give us money, but the burden of that will come back on the county down the line. So I want to go to your last point for progressive policy before we move on. In developers' predatory exploitation of our county. What do you mean by that?
Okay. What I mean by that is, you see, there are so many practices in this country that I've seen that is disheartening, that put our people in a predicament whereby they are constantly having to blame their commissioners, having to blame their government for allowing this to happen to them. Some of those instances is when developer build a subdivision, and most of the homes they are building are being built with either substandard product or being built not according to code. Let me put it that way, because what you can buy a house 6 months down the line, and your drainage is busted, your water is all piling up right in your house, in front of your house. You know, these are the things. But if we let these developers, if we hold them to a very high standard where they can get away with all these small loopholes that they get away with, I think our country will be better for it. Not only that, these developers, you know, they come, well, they'll say, talk, the only way you can get better is, you know, the base, the tax base is money, is the building we build, the subdivision we build is how you generate revenue. But guess what? When they're doing that, the mistake our county government makes is that all this while, when they're negotiating this, all they are taking into consideration is the development right and responsibility and school seats program. Every subdivision you build don't just consume school seats, they consume more than school seats. You are accounted for the school seat. Okay, what about the traffic? What about the light? What about the water? What about the road? What about the burden on the infrastructures that is not school, that is not school related?
Okay. Yeah,
You're not taking into consideration the impact of that population that you are bringing and what they are going to consume. You're only assuming that they're only going to need schools. Come on. That is why I said there is a connection in economics. There's a connection between population growth and infrastructural decay. Meaning, you have to, as your population grows, your infrastructure also have to grow in a commensurate rate.
Yeah,
If your
and I
infrastructure is
think
not
here,
growing at a commensurate rate,
yeah, and I think here in Charles County, we kind of do it backwards.
Exactly.
And I know, before we move on, I know in my neighborhood, you know, we had, you know, unfortunately, you know, our commissioner didn't address it when we approached the commissioner. So I had to rely on other commissioners to expedite the matter. And one way that you can get these developers is by holding their bond. Because they would have skipped. They would have skipped on us. And guess what? They finished our development, I think, in 2017. They're still working on it. And they haven't got their full bond yet.
Wow.
So those are things that citizens need to know. So let's go to your responsive leadership. And some of this kind of ties in.
Yeah.
It kind of ties in. And I definitely agree. I don't have any issue with this because there needs to be a direct line of communication with residents. That's why I'm really for more of the same thing that for Board of Education, where everything is based on your district. To me, they should have did the commissioners like this as well. That's just my opinion. They should have did it like that as well, because although you would be District 2, you serve the whole county, have to get votes from everybody in the county, but you can lose focus of your own district.
I do understand what you mean.
Yeah.
Well, you see, the problem I have about that is, I see a lot of sense in what you say, you know, electing by district. The problem I have about that is, I feel like it's going to already, you know, my district right now is already marginalized, if I should use that word. District 2. You're talking about Najimoy, Brian Road, Indian. We're already marginalized. You understand what I'm saying? However, I think if we are voting by district, it's going to further marginalize us. I will explain why I said that. The reason why I say I think it's going to further marginalize us, I might be wrong, I might, but however, the reason I say that is, if you have two commissioners representing Waldorf, and you need only 3 to win. You have District 3 and District 4 in Waldorf. District 2 and District 1 in mainly our rural areas. So guess what? All you need is get somebody to run for commissioner president from Waldorf, get 2 people to run for commissioner from Waldorf, and those 3 team up, and it's a wrap.
Well, they do that
Commissioner
now.
will always
But that's how
you feel
that's
what
how
I'm
it is
saying?
now.
That is how it is now.
Yeah.
But guess what? Right now, they still have to walk within the line. I know that is how it is now. However, I just think if you don't need somebody, the possibility when you need them, the likelihood of you just ignoring them is higher. But when you don't need them at all, the incentive to consider them is even less. You understand my point?
Yeah, but
Like
then
for
you can
instance,
also hold them more accountable if it's district only. Because believe me, I know people that are not accountable to their own district. Because guess what? They know they can get some of those other votes from other districts. So it's accountability. And it's like
I
I need
totally,
to
I
physically
totally, I totally understand that as well.
yeah.
However, even if you don't have a district and you have a progressive in my district, let's say you elect someone like myself and we vote by district, and I'm pushing for something to come to my district that can help my district, and I have 2 commissioners in what do you call it, in Waldorf, and the president are telling me they can't get it done. If you hold me accountable, you just holding me accountable because there's nothing I can do. If I'm pushing and these people are voting against everything I'm pushing, there's nothing you can do. And guess what? They are not answerable to my people either. Because now the election is coming. They're not even going to come and campaign because they're like, why am I going to District 2? I didn't vote for anything they wanted last time. And besides, they don't vote for me anyway. And they don't vote in my election. So do you understand why I said it can go both?
Yeah, and I can see that. There's pros and cons to doing it both ways.
You can go both ways.
And my thing at the end of the day, if people are running for office and doing right by the people, then we should never have these constant 3-2 battles or whatever it may be. Now your regular town halls, and this is, I like town halls, but I don't like town halls being held in government buildings. And the reason why is because the elected official can control the narrative. When you have a town hall, say at an HOA meeting or whatever, then you still want to be civil, but you don't want to give the notion that, okay, it's about me and this is the town hall and I'm not going to answer any question because I don't have to. So the regular town halls are good. I'm not saying that every commissioner does it, but I think every commissioner has done a town hall. I just can't remember how often. But when you make regular town halls, you make monthly, bi-monthly, quarterly.
Yeah, what I mean regular town hall, I mean at least once a month. But I would love for it to be at least twice a month.
Okay. And would it be
and not
centered
only
to be focused on certain issues or just whatever you want to talk about?
Yeah, not only that. When I want it to be at least once a month, but minimum of once a month, but at least twice a month. However, should there be any arising issue that has called for my attention, maybe there is a vote we have taken, or there is something that a decision we have made or needed to be made, and I want to get my opinion, I want to get the people's opinion, I'll definitely hold an impromptu town hall.
Okay.
Oh yeah, because if you look at my inclusive government, you see what I said at the last part of the inclusive government. I said prioritize residents' concern in decision making, and I meant that with all my heart. I'm not going to have a survey or a study done whereby, like the study that I went to in Brands Road, and the study only 25 respondents, 25, and you telling me you actually have a study. Who does a statistical study, a scientific study, and use only 25 samples?
So what you're saying is you're not going to base your decision on a small sample.
No, because the truth is, I'm here to serve the people. I'm not going to just, it's not because it's not about me. Believe me, forget about what I want. What do the people want? The people themselves, what do they truly want?
Okay. All right. Yeah, I definitely agree with that. And then the last point for responsible leadership, and then some of the inclusive government we already talked about. Ease our traffic nightmares. Now, I do know that our state senator and I believe some of the delegates have secured some funds, I'm assuming for a study, but it's not going to happen overnight.
That is true.
It just simply is not. So if you got any plans of being in Charles County for the next 4 years, traffic is going to ease up that quickly.
Okay, well, yeah, one thing about our traffic problem is mainly because we have to really we need the support of our southern region constituency leaders as well. Southern Maryland, Carver County, Charles County, and even those in the southern PG County. We need to bring all our delegates together and really put pressure on our state government. Because you know our region is the most marginalized region in Maryland, Southern Maryland.
And that's because, at least for Charles County, we are the closest county to DC.
That is true.
That does not have the large business organizations or like PG and St. Mary's has more than we do. They have PACs, big base. So, and you know, I'm not going to speculate the reasoning, but it is what it is. So the traffic nightmares, I know some of that can be eased with teleworking because now we proved that we can actually telework. You could buddy share. Some country, well, I don't know what state, but I think a country with the 4-day work week. I don't know how this is going to be worked, but I think if you're elected, the commissioner should come up with a remedy, some type of incentives that could help ease these traffic nightmares.
Yeah, I totally agree with you. At least for your suggestion would be very good, at least for some immediate response. You know what I'm saying? To give us some immediate relief from the traffic. However, as we do that, we also have to project forward. We have to transform our transportation system in the Southern Maryland, honestly speaking. Our transportation system in Southern Maryland is porous. And that is why I said we need the collective effort of not only Charles County delegates, but also all the entire Southern Maryland delegates. And this is the time to actually do it. This is the time, especially this election period. You will seek West Moore. You will sit him inside an office. All the Southern Maryland delegates, look, if you're going to get our vote, this is what we want. We want a transformation in Southern Maryland. You know, you have to start locking them into your promises as they are campaigning right now. That is what campaign is for. You start getting some commitment from them, no matter how little it is. You know,
some financial commitment.
Yeah, financial. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. You know.
All right. Yeah, and I agree.
So our transportation network is very terrible.
Okay. So last point, because we're inclusive government, we pretty much cover everything with the exception of bullet 2. And the reason I want to ask this, if I'm looking at this as a voter, ensure equality and diversity in county government, I'm thinking, wait a minute, there isn't anything, or there's been some stuff that's been happening and you want to address it. So explain this bullet, ensure, I know what it means, but do you see it as a problem, or are you just trying to be proactive?
Yeah, well, that is exactly, I like the last question you just asked, if I see it as a problem or do I want to be proactive? Actually, I see it as a proactive effort. Remember when we were talking about putting a citizens review board for the sheriff's department. I know you have a different opinion about it as at that time. And I understand where your opinion was coming from. Your opinion was coming from the fact that, okay, we don't have that problem right now. Sheriff Strawberry is doing great.
No, to be honest with you, we had it, but the commissioners had the power to bring it back. They chose not to. They let the state make that decision versus So, that's not on Sheriff, that's not on his part.
Exactly.
I welcome it. I welcome it.
Thank you so much. That is exactly what I was saying then. Like, Sheriff Troy Berry is doing an amazing job. But guess what? That is the more reason why we need to put those citizens review board in there. And the reason why is because not because of him, because he's just one person. He's going to leave. No matter how long he serves, eventually he's still going to leave.
Yeah.
When he leaves, we don't know who the replacement is going to be. Is it going to be someone of like mind, like Sheriff Troy Berry, someone with a good administrative abilities like Troy Berry? We don't know.
Yeah.
If you go get a crazy person, then they turn the whole place upside down. Now, for instance, you go get a person of a different race, and now you start pushing for that what do you call it, citizens review board. Some people will start telling you, oh, you're being racist because now you got a white sheriff, that's why now you're pushing for citizens review board. You understand the how politics, that you don't even mean it that way, but they will start timing it that way. That is why I was calling for it under him. That way, should anybody come and I'm insisting on it, they're not saying I'm doing it because I'm trying to be this or trying to be that. I'm just looking for the best interest of my residents.
Yeah, because I'm not sure what the rationale was behind it, but if you knew that, and I don't know what the vote was, whether or not it was 50% of the residents, but I think every agency should be held accountable to its constituents.
Yeah, I agree with you.
Even with teachers, there's no oversight there. So if something's going wrong with a teacher or whatever, the system handles it. But we as citizens don't have a say. But that's a whole different story. But in this case, it's a little bit different because law enforcement has that power to take a life or to save a life.
Exactly.
And unfortunately, we haven't had the issues that it's been going on the national level.
Thank God.
But I've always been a proponent of some type of oversight. It's just how do we get there? And the commissioners, in my opinion, could have put us in a situation where we didn't have to have our delegates already put something in place for it to be now a statewide initiative. Which, it's like anything. There's going to be some things people disagree on, but I do agree with the oversight. So we are about to wrap up, but what I want to say, bring up your picture so people can see who you are. There we go. And for those of us joining, Manny had some technical difficulties with his carrier. I'm not going to put him out there in that free advertising, but
I know, right?
Process of elimination, you can kind of figure out it's either one of three. But at any rate,
we're gonna do it again.
The voice is able to come through, and that is Manny. And how I normally close out the show is I do what I call word association. I say a word and you tell me in a sentence, what does that word mean to you? Or that person, phrase, thing, whatever. So, and then I'll let you close out. And that's it. So you ready?
Yeah, I'm ready.
Or you want to close out first, do the word association? Which one you want to do?
No, you don't got me on the spot. I want to do the hard one first, the word association.
Okay, all right. Charles County.
Great community.
All right. Children.
Awesome.
Education.
Important.
Crime.
Terrible.
Military.
Great.
You know you can say it more in one word, right?
I know.
You be the first one to do everything in one word. Small business.
Necessary.
Environment.
Need our help.
All right. So thank you for the word associate, playing the word association game. Your prize is you get to close out your final remarks.
Oh, thank you so much, Terry. I really do. As I said earlier at the beginning, I really do appreciate your help, and I appreciate you keeping our residents informed of those who are running, who are looking for their vote, and what they have in stock to do when they get in office. Like I said, my name is Emmanuel Ogungbesan. I'm a veteran of the U.S. Navy. I'm a businessman, and I believe there is a lot we can accomplish in this country. Some of the things we didn't get to touch on is the entertainment environment in the county is almost non-existent. I want us to have introduce what they call county festival, annual county festival, where the moment you're driving into the county, you can tell this is a festival or festive environment because we'll have our flags out, line up all 301 and the rest of our county. You know, just bring some life into our residents. You know, we can't just be here talking politics 247. It's time for us to let our head down, even though I don't have any. Get out there and get some fresh air. Thank you so
I'm
much,
not too
and
far.
I really do need your support. Emmanuel Ogungbesan for Council Commissioner. Thank you.
And how can they reach you if they
Yeah, I can be
want to
reached.
help out, donate, or get any more information on your campaign?
Yeah, right now, actually, my email, my website should be back up by tomorrow. I'm working on it right now. I just pull it down. I'm fixing some technical stuff on top of it. But however, you can reach me at Emmanuel for Charles County at gmail.com, or my phone number. My phone number is my direct phone number. I don't hide it. It's 240-528-0599. You can call me, you can email me, you can messenger me. I always respond. If I'm busy, it might take a minute, but I always make sure I respond. I respond to email even in the middle of the night. Terry can tell you that. In the
Yeah.
middle of the night, I
Oh,
will.
God dang, boy, you ain't sleep. Yeah, but and once again, I definitely appreciate you taking time out of your schedule to come on the show. Like I tell all candidates, anything I can do to support the campaign, meaning
Yes, sir.
that highlighting things, I'm not endorsing candidates, but just to
Yeah.
educate
Mhm.
the voters, please let me know.
Yes, sir.
And at the end of the day, voters still have to do their homework and
Yep.
educate themselves on the candidates
Yes.
and pick who they feel is the best fit. So with that, I'm going to say good night to you.
Thank you so much.
Appreciate it. And good luck on the campaign trail.
Thank you, Terry. And say hello to the family for me. Thanks.
You think? All right, y'all. So I definitely appreciate, and I hope I get his name right, Emmanuel, aka Manny Ogum. Manny, don't be mad at me. I'm just gonna say that because I don't want to tear it up. For being on the show, and like I always tell people, educate yourself on candidates. That's all you gotta do is educate yourself on candidates. And when it's time to vote, vote. Time to vote, vote. But until then, peace and blessings, and see you later.